Yes, we are live. Yes. So can you see my screen, ma'am?
I can see you.
Okay. Okay. I'm just switching off my screen so that we can see each other. Yes, ma'am. So we are here. So very good morning to all of you, and welcome, ma'am, to this live session.
Thank you.
Nice to see you after so long time. Last time I remember I met you at your home. We were shooting some for Maha Yoga Utsav. So I remember that day, and now we are here together. So let me just introduce, all participants are joining. So I'm just waiting for them. So before they come, I don't think that there is any need to introduce you, because you are so popular. Your name itself is, when we say Madhu, the one picture comes in front of us, that is Rosa Girl. You did a lot of films, but this film definitely imprinted in all of us your image as a Rosa Girl. Just to introduce a little bit about myself, I'm Dr. Nutan Pakhre. I'm the founder of AYG Academy. Earlier, I used to work with Kevaladham, and now also I'm working with Kevaladham. That is my mother institute, and that's the way even I'm able to meet such a celebrity, eminent personality. So and with this, when I met Madhuji first time, I remember the one event she was hosting for Life Positive. The event name also I remember, that is Transcendence. So and so many celebrity were there around me, and but I don't know what took me towards her. I directly approach her and I ask her, ma'am, can would you like to come to Kevaladham and be a speaker? So she said, immediately she replied, yes, why not? And even we clicked one picture. She asked me to check, is it okay? So she is such a humble and honest person, and the aura around her is so much energetic. She is so much energy filled in her. That is what I can feel. Another thing which I want to mention, when I called her last month, I asked her, ma'am, uh, see, I have started promoting ancient science, that is Ayurveda, yoga and Garbha Sanskar. So would you like to come again on live with me? She said yes. Before even I called, and she is asking me, what can I do, doctor, for you? So that was her answer. So apart from this, what introduction I can give? So let's start today's topic, as we have already announced with the poster, that is finding balance in life as a woman. So Madhuji, over to you. I would like to ask you 2 3 questions. Means there are many questions, and even we can take a question from audience. Just a minute, I'm just checking. Are we live or not? Now we are going live, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see live sign on your?
No, I can only see recording sign.
Okay. Just give me time. Can anybody just replied us that are we visible on Facebook? You can give right in the chat box so we can understand that
Saying
you
live. It is live on Facebook now.
it is live on Facebook. No? Okay. So, ma'am, yes, let's start our conversation. You told me that we will have a, you will be sharing lot of experience about your, life, how you have started. So like in women's life, what I feel is starting from the childhood, we are more focused on, how we look, and we like to, some people to pamper us. And then in adolescent, when we start, going to school and then college, a lot of attention we wanted to some other people to give us, and we also pay attention to them. After marriage, then our full attention goes to the husband. After childbirth, our full attention shifts to the child. And then later on, again, when we reach to the menopause, then again we come back to our own self. So I would like to know, and we all here, students are present, there are many audience are watching. So we all wanted to understand how you find a balance starting from your childhood till now.
Okay, firstly, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dr. Nutan, once again. And Doctor, thank you so much for an amazing introduction. You know, many times people ask me that how can you give us some material so, we can introduce you. They always ask me to give, few things about myself so that, people can introduce me. And I say, there is nothing I want to say about me. You can call me an actor because that's an identity the whole world identifies me with, and then I leave it to the person to introduce me. And because I want to be surprised, I want to know. Hello, are you
Yes,
there?
yes, ma'am. Yes,
So,
yes.
so I want to know the reason I don't give my biodata or my material to introduce me is because I want to every time feel surprised, and I want to know that how somebody would introduce me, what it is that they see in me. So of course they always talk about my movies, and they always talk about my Roja, and thank God for Roja. It is my God's blessing to me. But then I'm always interested, okay, after announcing me as an actor, after talking about my Roja, what is it that the person sees? And today, Doctor, you have spent 2 minutes extra on talking about me, which is not my movies or Roja. And you've talked to me about how you saw things in me that make me feel very humble. If you saw that positive energy in me, if you saw a happy, helping person in me, if that is what you saw in me, I'm very, very glad and very humble and very grateful for that introduction. Everything about me is there on Google for anyone to know. But it is, I want to know, you have met me, you have seen me, and you have picked up on my vibes and vibrations, and what you felt. So what you felt and what you think of me is very, very special to me. It's very important to me. So I'm very thankful and grateful for a wonderful introduction.
Thank you
So
so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's really, and it's a true from heart. Whenever I meet, at various occasion we met, and I remember every time you have so much energy, and you want to give. I remember each and every moment. Even I can, absorb of whatever the thing. Still, it is in my mind how you have explained your journey. How this the you are niece of Hema Malini ji, so how her life also the impacted in you. So all things I means apart from your celebrity status and things, what I remember is when I was with you, how I felt. So that's what I have
there are
introduced.
things I
Yes.
have to tell you. Maya Angelou is one of our greatest poet,
Mhm.
and Oprah Winfrey talks about her. Maya Angelou has said that people often forget what you tell them, the event, but they very seldom forget how you make them feel.
Yes.
So how one makes the other person feel is often remembered. And another thing which you also talked about, that I answered your phone by saying, what can I do for you, doctor? Again, I had read somewhere that, we always think about how we can take something from someone. Why don't we answer when someone calls, hello, tell me, what can I do for you?
Yes.
What I believe, doctor, why do I do so many lives and why do I come to talk and share my thoughts, is because I can be very quiet. This is not my work. Sharing my life is not my job. Being an actor is my job. But yet I never refuse an opportunity to talk to a few people. The reason for that, doctor, is that I have learned so much from other people's minds, from their books, from their talks, um, that has made a big change in my life about how to find happiness. So the whole shift from focusing from the outer world to your inner world, I have learned only by listening to some great saints, great erudite scholars, their books, uh, and stuff like that has taught me how I can be positive. And that is the reason that I learn these things and I come to share. So if someone, just like the way I have picked up from someone, if someone picks up something from us or from me and helps and changes in their life and feels happy, I'll be very happy. So that is the reason. But doctor, to go back to your main question and the main topic, that how does one balance? Balance is the key to happiness. Balance is the key to life. Balance, it is never living in the polarity. The good polarity and bad polarity is equally harmful and dangerous in my understanding. Sometimes I feel shy to talk before someone because you are a doctor who has studied and worked in Kaivalya Dham. And then now you're practicing. So obviously you have spent a lot more time and experience in talking about holistic and health and women. So to talk in front of you, sometimes I'm shy, but what I'm only telling you or sharing is what I have learned through experience and through intelligent people who've done a lot of work. So what I have realized, habits, there is no such thing as good habit and bad habit. There is no such thing as good and bad. They are all equally bad if you want to see it, because they are polarities. And we have to strive to be in the balance, somewhere in the middle. Some of us may have a little bit of extra of something, but try and strive. So even if workout or exercise, walking, which they say is good for you, yoga, which is good for you, but the intention, the meaning behind what you do is the most important thing. If you wake up every morning and you say, I do yoga every day, I go for walk every day, it doesn't make a difference, because there are times when you don't have to do yoga. You may be having fever. Your body must be telling you, please sleep 1 extra hour to heal. But if you keep an alarm and you wake up to do yoga, it means you're not listening, you're not tuned in to your body. So it's a good habit. If you tell people, I do walking every day, I do yoga every day, it's a great habit. But are you really benefiting? Because your mindset has to be flexible. Mindset has to be adaptable. Mindset cannot be rigid. So if your mind is rigid, even something so beautiful like yoga can do you more harm. When your body is not ready and you do yoga, you can actually hurt yourself. So it is about balance. It is about listening to your body. It is about listening to your emotions. It is about listening to your mind. And somewhere listening to each, and you pamper and you stay in the middle. Yes, discipline and routine is a must. There are sometimes a lazy mind plays a trick. It says, oh, today I don't feel like waking up. You must know how to whip your mind and say, no, you have to wake up. But you have to know the difference, and that is wisdom, and that you gain slowly. You have to know the difference of your voice. Is that the voice that is tempting you to be lazy? Is it a voice that's tempting you just to, or is it a voice that's telling you, please don't do this today, I am not well? So you have to differentiate between, it is your own voice, but you have to know which voice you have to listen to. And that is balance. Even alcohol, which is proven, which is terrible for you. But every medicine has a drop of alcohol. Without alcohol, even medicines are not made. So it is about the balance. Sometimes a glass of wine can be very helpful. Yes, we have this thing that I will never drink alcohol. But yes, that's a good habit. I'm not saying alcohol and cigarettes are good, but it is about the mind. It is about holistic being. Sometimes a little alcohol is actually good for you, just like alcohol is used in medicine. I'm not promoting a bad thing. What I'm trying to say is that we have to get out of our mind that says this is good and this is bad. We have to see what meaning we attach to life and find our balance. So from my childhood, I have not, this is all, life is beautiful actually as you age. Lot of people say aging is terrible. As you grow older, people say, oh my God, I'm old, I can't do what I did when I was 20. But it is not the way. Again, it is the meaning. Yes, at 20 you could climb a tree and jump, and you had that bravado to do that. At 50, maybe you don't feel like doing that, maybe you can't do that. But aging is beautiful, because at 50 the wisdom that you have at 20 you did not have. So aging is a privilege. It's just like life is a privilege, life is a blessing. Aging also is, not everybody gets to age. How many people do we know who live 100 years? How many people do we know who live 90 years and happy? So aging is actually, to have the planet for 90 years, 80 years and 100 years is a privilege. So let's not curse our privilege.
Yes.
Let's not curse old age. We all curse old age. We think only being young is lovely. No, after going past youth, after going past young, when you become old, life looks different.
Yes.
All that bothered you don't bother you. So aging is a privilege. Yes. So let's not curse our privilege. So let's find our balance, and so what I did not have this wisdom when I was 20, which Correct. I'm learning now. Correct. So this is the way I balance, doctor. I question everything. I don't take any concepts. I don't believe anything that I believed in earlier. I question everything and I say, what should I do? So I don't do this, okay, one day I may do a keto diet because, they say keto. One day I may do a carb diet. One day I may do, but I basically don't, I personally, I am not questioning anybody else's belief system, but I personally feel I don't like to leave out carbohydrates. I don't like to leave out protein. I don't like to leave out fat. But everything eaten in small quantity, it makes a wholesome thing. I cannot eat my food without a little bit of grain. I cannot eat my food without a little bit of ghee. I cannot eat my food without my lentils. How can one eat only this and only that? The point is to eat a little of everything. And even if you love something, don't overeat it. And even if you hate something, don't not ever eat it. So the point is, in a scale, good and bad, in a scale, in every matter, whether it is anger, whether it is relationship, whether it is food, whether it is health, whether it is profession, you have to find a place where you can be somewhere in the scale in the middle. Even anger. I don't want to lose all my anger, because that anger actually, it is a force. It's a driving force. It's a compelling force. A little bit of vairagya, a little bit of anger actually gives you a thrust. Anger, it is like nuclear bomb, nuclear energy. People created bombs, and people can destroy a nation. But with nuclear energy, you can give energy to every house. Every machine can run. Cheap energy you get from nuclear source. So everything in life, even that which can kill you, actually can support life. And to understand that and to be in the balance is what I try to practice.
Very well put forward. Madhuji, as you have already explained how, there is nothing actually good or bad. It is actually how we look into it, right? So perspective change as we grow older. That's what you have given one key message here. There are a lot of messages in your talk, but let's go, let us let us know about because you are doing many lives, and I have also heard your live in other platform. So I heard you are sharing about your childhood stage when you got injured, and your mom has given some Tamil quote you have said. So I want you to repeat here because that was really touched my heart, and it was somewhere related to even my own life as well. So can you please throw light on that?
Sure, doctor. I was, I think, barely 6 years old or 7. I can't remember the exact age, but I was very, very young. I was, I think, in standard 1. So what must have been my age, 5 or 6 or something. And my mother was a fantastic dancer, Bharatnatyam dancer. The story goes, my father met her on a dance stage in one of her performances, and my aunt and my grandmother went and, got her married to my father. So she had done 150 or some odd stage show, or 300 stage shows, and then she became a teacher, and I think she did 150 arangetrams, debut performances for young girls. That was my mother. So when I was born, my mother's dream was to make me a great dancer and make me eventually, because I come from Hema Malini ji's house, everybody thought that I will, it was like spoken in a very funny way. What, you don't talk to a 5-year-old child that you're going to be an actress, but it was just understood that, oh, you're going to be an actress like Hemu, like Hema ji. And then my mother would be like, oh, I'm going to make her a dancer. So there were a lot of, beautiful ambitions and goals and talks pinned around me. But when I was about 5 or 6, I had a very bad fall. We were living in Delhi at the time, and I fell down from the top of the slide. And my femur bone, my thigh femur, it not only cracked, it broke, and it completely broke. So I was taken to Safdarjung Hospital in Delhi, where I was put on those pulleys and traction to, bring the bone back into place. So I was in the hospital for 6-8 months.
Oh.
And the doctor told my parents that your girl may never walk properly. She may always have a little limp. Then even when I came home, I was in a cast. So basically 1 whole year, I repeated the class. And 1 whole year it took me to heal. After you take out the cast, after 8-10 months, the leg had become very thin because the muscles had all gone away.
Yes.
So to gain the muscle, so there was a whole process of 1 whole year of completely in bed. And the doctor said, your daughter may not walk properly again. She will always have a limp. Now, with this kind of a shock in my mother's heart, who thought that this child is born to be a dancer, this child is born to be an actor, and now the doctor is saying, we'll have to see. You can imagine the trauma of the mother. But my mother, there was a famous line which I remember of my mother's. She always said, in translation, in Tamil, she said, Talaki vandadu tarpaloda pochu. But the translation of that means something grave danger was coming to you. And what came for the head went away with the leg. So even in that, in this disastrous moment, in this most despair feeling that, oh my God, is my daughter going to walk properly again? Will she be a dancer? Well, in all those grief and in all those troubled moments, my mother often said, thank God, what came for the head went away with the legs. Exactly. So that positive message that I grew up as a child, I truly feel, yes, I do a lot of work on positivity on myself today. I listen to wonderful talks and people and who are, talking about the mindset and all of that. But I think positivity and happiness, I don't know if I'm right, but this is my understanding. Positivity and happiness is also a genetic gift that your parents, I just feel that, yes, I train myself to be positive. I train myself to uplift myself. But I think it's a gift from my mother and my father to see life in a positive way. And that is why I always try to be, as happy as a human can be. We are all human beings. We have our negatives, but as happy, and as I like to correct myself, because if this is what I got from my mother, I would like my children to get that from me. Exactly. So this is my mother's famous words, that what came for the head went away with the legs. Even though it was a terrible 1 year, 1.5 years of feeling, my mother still had a way of looking at it positively.
Correct, man. This is really touching story, and similar way why I have asked you to share this, because similarly I also met with an accident, but that accident happened when I was very young. Means when every girl dreams about the marriage and the children, and that time I just met with an accident, and I was also completely on bed. 7 months I was on bed, and same thing which your doctor told your mother, same thing my doctors also told my parents, that we don't know that this girl is going to walk or sit also. And then in 20 means I was 25-year-old that time, 25 to 26-year-old, and I was already became a doctor, and everything was means everything was absolutely fine. And this sudden shock, the young girl lying on the bed, who was the pillar of family. So I could definitely understand what was the things, and my mother and my father, both of them became a pillar, and their energy, and my sisters, siblings, all friends have been definitely supported me to walk again. And then I took the this I have decided that no, my this is my second life, and I need to work for the humanity. Though how I overcome, I need to share with the community. So there are many people, ma'am, when I shared this story, there are many people who are right now going through that stage where we have already overcome. So this is really encouraging and touching things which is personally we are sharing on live. I hope many people are listening and getting inspired. Now moving ahead, ma'am, like you said, what your mother, because I conduct a prenatal, postnatal yoga and Garbha Sanskar course, and there are many students who have learned a lot. And I came across in this pandemic, I conducted online courses, and many women participated and got benefited also. So what I can listen from many people who are joining, many are suffering from their own mental and physical imbalance happening due to pandemic COVID-19. You know how stressful the situation is. So how you have managed to be balanced in this pandemic situation at present?
Firstly, it's really a sad time because I know everybody is going through some kind of an issue. Most people are going through great issues in life. It's a complete change of life for most everybody in the whole world. So it is not an easy time. But what I feel is we have to become sensitive to everybody at this time and see if we can, we have to establish connections uh, in the time where we are most isolated and
Yes.
locked in. We
Yes.
have to find ways of connections, and that has helped me. Reaching out to people on the phone. I mean, social media has been a boon. It's not been a curse.
Yes.
That see you are sitting somewhere else. My brother is sitting in America. My aunts are all over the globe. So you look at your people you love, and people your friends and family. You have a means of looking at them in that moment live and talking to them. So I have really used this magical instrument and kept myself connected in the most isolating period of our lives. I have found ways of connecting with people, and I've understood the beauty of being connected to human beings. Doesn't matter who those human beings are. They may be your closest people, or they may be just people, doctors, society, gurus, whoever it is. The minute you connect with people, there is a kind of joy. So even when you're feeling, this is my personal advice, if people want to hear, the more low you feel, the more depressed you feel, please find a way to connect with uh, just the word connect. Sometimes you may want to connect with human beings, sometimes connect with dogs, sometimes just connect with the trees and plants. There are a lot of my friends who are in the farmhouses, and they just keep making their garden grow. They are talking to their rose plants, they are talking to their coconut trees. Some of them are talking to their dogs. Some of them, like me, are talking to all the people I know in this world, my friends, old friends, new friends, relatives, family. So connectivity, this is a lesson in time of how connected you are. while we are all complaining of isolation. Oh my God, I'm locked in. But being locked in, find ways to connect. The minute you connect to yourself, connect to God. Please have faith and surrender. It gives great strength of acceptance. And even when you accept even the hardest times of your life, it somehow gives you some kind of strength to go into the next day.
Yes, correct. Connection is very, very important. And that's why, this live session we are, organizing, we are connecting. And technology definitely plays a very important role to, give us a something connection, now across the border, across the country, we are able to reach to the larger audience due to this technology. So, well said, ma'am. Now let me come back again. We have discussed your childhood stage. Now we want to know about your youthfulness, how you have been, when you enter into the marriage life and the children, and how you manage your career. You are at the peak of your career, there are a lot of opportunity there. And then also how you settled your life into, in between your work and life balance, personal and professional balance, how you maintain.
In my opinion, that lot of things happen. I mean, I think everything happens to everyone. And
Yes.
you see things, I think, is the only difference that we bring about or we make. Now, when I was in my career, suddenly my husband came into my life. And, we fell in love and we wanted to get married. I mean, now you're asking me this question. I don't know how to answer it, because when I decided to get married and I was in love, I didn't even once think that I want to continue my work and be married. At that time, I just wanted to be married and enjoy the life of a married person. And then I wanted to have my children. I just kind of flowed. I did not think that I'm going to work and be married at the same time. So that was the choice I made. And then once my children were born, and as I started feeling that, that's when I realized, they often say that when the thing that you love goes away from you, it is only then you realize how important it was to you. So when I stopped being an actor, when I stopped working, after a few years, after my children were born, I realized that I'm an actor. I cannot suddenly start going into the kitchen and start making pizzas and baking cakes. It did not give me joy. So I had to find myself how to act again, how to dance again. So what I started doing was, then my little babies, they started going to Westwind School, which is a kindergarten. Then they went to Cathedral School, which is a bigger school. I became the mother on, who was planning the dances and dramas of the school. So I started teaching little children how to dance, how to act. Then I got a chance to dance in their school platform. So the point is, it doesn't matter where I was working, where I was dancing. I just loved dancing. I just loved acting. So I started acting and dancing in KG class, in my children's school. I started teaching, and that gave me a lot of joy. Then as my children grew older, and I felt that I have a lot of time in hand, and I have a wonderful in-laws. My mother-in-law is my greatest gift, because when she's home and if I have to go out, I feel very safe about my children. So slowly I started telling people that I'm ready to work, and I started accepting small parts, small things. So when I left my house and went to work, I did not feel that I was not doing my bit. I love my children so much that I just wanted to be with them all the time. But yet I knew that if I'm there with them all the time, I'm not doing what I'm meant to do or what I love doing. So I had to find what I love doing and keep loving my children in the right balance. So it took me some time, how much I can work and how much I have to be with them. It didn't happen overnight, but by consistently doing what I like doing, my people in my house, they got convinced that mama must work, my daughter-in-law must work, my wife must work. And they also got convinced that even if she works, we are the priority. She will never let me go. Where work and children are concerned, everybody knows where my heart lies. I love my work, but I love my children, and my duty towards my children, I take it very seriously. So for each person, their life circumstances will define what their balance is. So the way I started working today, I'm a full-time professional back working into many movies. I travel a lot, and my children don't miss me because they are young people who are also very busy in their education and life. So it didn't happen overnight, but it happened over a period of 10, 12 years. So little by little, I was going out, and before I came. So it took me 10 years to find my balance as a professional career person and as a family person.
Correct, ma'am. So you were talking about your, giving birth to the child. So since I'm running this course, Garbha Sanskara, so have you done any special things when your daughters are in your womb? So do you believe in this science, Garbha Sanskara?
Uh, Doctor, I actually don't know what is the science that you're talking about. So can you explain to me what is
Yeah,
this?
see, Garbha Sanskara is nothing but it's just educating your child when they are in your womb. So that is what Garbha Sanskara. This is ancient science, and that's why actually I want to promote this, because people are not aware about it, which is Indian culture, science. When we try to educate our children when they born after birth, so it's a science which is training our child inside the womb. Means whatever the activity you do, you are very much conscious. There are many special technique which has been mentioned in our culture, in our science, which has to be, if mother follows, that will automatically come inside their child. So that's what. So anyways, if you don't know this particular terms, but I am sure that you have taken a lot of care when you are pregnant. So
Yeah,
would you like to?
we all know the story of Abhimanyu.
Manu, exactly. There you are. Yes.
Yes. No,
Yes.
yeah, I totally believed in it. That I felt that what the mother feels, the child feels that. The child's kind of emotional personality comes from the mother, and her relationship with her partner, her emotions when she's expecting a child. So yes, I would listen to a lot of Gayatri mantra, and I had a Bhagavad Gita teacher, Professor Upadhyay, who came and read the stories to me and about Bhagavad Gita, and I knew that my child was listening. So yes, I believed in all of that, and I believe in that we all have to have this aim to be good souls, good human
Yes.
beings. And then I would like to raise my children in that philosophy. So keeping that in mind, we have to start very early, not when the child is 5, 6, 7. Even our government today has changed the education, because even our government has realized education of the first 3 years or 5 years is more important. So they've also broken, as you know, the new
Yes.
law.
New law.
So the recognizing that the earlier the mind and the heart and the soul is imprinted with the kind of lessons of life, yes, that's very important. But having said that, doctor, I have a question for you. As
Yes.
I as a Hindu, I know this Garbha Sanskar thing,
Sanskar.
Abhimanyu, like he was taught in the womb how to, get into
Enter. Huh.
and all that. So it is a very, very old, ancient belief system which is proven. Today, even science proves that. The vibrations and how the mother feels, what the mother eats, so everything is proven. But I have one question, doctor. So how does, today science has gone so ahead. So even though you may be the biological parents, but there's a whole new system of surrogacy where another lady, she carries your baby. So the genetic material is of the mother and the father, but a third person is carrying your baby. So how does this explain? Because that lady who's carrying my baby, her samskar will come into the fetus? How
Uh,
does?
yes, ma'am. Actually, in Ayurveda, that is why actually I'm teaching this science, because there are many concepts behind this. That is called Garbhakar Bhava. There are six bhava which is present, which is mother, father, and that soul. These are the three bhava which are we can't change them. But yes, there are some factors which is, another three factors, which is sattva, satmaj, and that fetus where it has been established, so that environment. So all those things which has really impact, inside that baby. If that baby is growing in some another womb, that environment has a little impact, not 100%, but yes, impact is there. What that the other person is eating or thinking, all that things also will be carried out inside that new soul. So these are the things which is, I also found, fascinating, because people are not at all aware about this science more in depth, and that's why I have
So
explored.
so I am not wrong when I say
Hmm.
that the baby that has got a surrogate mother
Hmm.
has two mothers and one father.
Yes, yes,
Because
absolutely.
the genetic material of one mother and father
Yes.
and the environmental material or influence of the mother that carries the baby. So
Hmm.
that baby has three influences at birth.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
inside the, yes, 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 while growing, and that is a isolation time, ma'am. It is said when the baby is inside the womb, it is the most isolation time when the baby learn a lot. So yes, it is really important to think where you want to, implant your fertilized egg. Once it is established, then there are a lot of, sanskara happening. So good discussion. I think we are almost 55 minutes we have done. So last, now this is the last section which I want to ask, the current state, like means after, middle age, we go ahead with the menopause, and when menopause come, many women feel like now it's the end of life. So what I say, it's a me to me time. We have started in the childhood, it is a me time. Then our attention shifts to the person who, on which we, our heart, try to relate it, we love to that person. Then we completely shift our attention to that person, then our children, and then again we are coming back in menopause. That is me time. I say it is a me time and there is no pause. What is your view on it?
doctor, I want to point out a thing that human beings find a way of finding fault with everything,
Yes.
right? When you're young, there are a lot of pressures of how you look, what relationship you're finding, and what job you're finding, how much money you're making. So whole day you think that older people have it easy, like your parents who are a little bit older, you think अरे उनका क्या है यार, घर में बैठते हैं मजे कर रहे हैं, दादी दादी का क्या है. So we always as young people think the old people have it easy, and young people are the ones who are struggling and under pressure. Then when you become old, you say, it was so nice when you were young. Look at the old age. I have nothing to do. I have nowhere to go. And you suddenly start saying being young is better than being old. So when you're young, you want to, you say old is not so great. But when you're old, you say young is not so great. Then you say, when you're young, you say you want to live a long life. Everybody prays for a long life. When you're actually living a long life, when you're 70 and 80, you start cursing old age. You say old age is the greatest bimari. So, please don't curse, accept each stage as it comes, is my lesson that I'm learning. Because everything that comes to your life is what is meant to be. So let's see how we can make it happy for us. Let's not complain. So going back to PMS, when you first start menstruating, PMS women are sometimes, the girls don't know how to behave. They are emotional, they yell, they are temperamental, they have lots of aches and pains, and they say, oh my God, PMS, period aa gaya, period aa gaya. They keep cursing their period. They feel they can't do any work, they will not work out, they will, they just say PMS is a reason of fighting with people, PMS is a reason to be lazy, PMS, PMS, PMS. Then menopause comes where there are no periods. Then you start cursing menopause. Then you say, see, menopause is my problem, menopause is my problem. ये हो गया menopause में. So हर stage में अगर आप problem देखते हो, so how are you going to be happy at any stage? So I have been through my periods, and I did not, by God's grace. Okay, now everybody is not same. Some people have real problems. If you're cramping and really having a problem, what can you do? You have to manage it. you have to take rest. But let's not attach the energy of words of negativity to it. अगर दर्द है तो दर्द को मैनेज करो, संभालो, पर उसमें वर्ड्स का नेगेटिविटी, ओ माय गॉड, जनरलाइज करके PMS, because if you get period, it's a blessing. That means you are fertile. If you don't get your periods being a woman, that is not good. So don't curse it. So similarly, menopause, now you've had your periods for 30 years, 40 years, whatever, it's going. So let it go. You will enjoy a new life. But before going, it makes a lot of changes. Changes, even good changes, make you uncomfortable. You know, even when the good change is happening, even if you're going from your old house to a new house, which is a better house, but the whole movement of transfer gives you pain.
Correct.
Till you go and settle in your new beautiful house, it is painful. You have to manage so many things. So change is uncomfortable. And even change, which is a better change, the transition period is uncomfortable. So deal with your discomfort, deal with your changes as per as your requirement. Some people need more attention. Some people need more nurturing. Some people need more pampering. You figure out who you are and nurture yourself and take care of yourself. You may need a doctor's attention, endocrinologist, basically, because your hormones are the ones that play up. So sometimes you need, today science has developed so much. Our great grandmothers did not go to the doctors when they were going through their menopause, and suddenly you realize your hair is fallen off and you've put on a lot of weight and you've got certain issues that happen with hormone imbalance. Now those things can be very well managed. The minute you know you're menopausing, please go and consult a professional, whoever you believe in, Ayurvedic, endocrinologist, whoever. There are these things that help you balance and make the transition easy. But this transition is a good transition because you're alive. You're seeing menopause means you're alive 50 years. So, you know, so let's find, if you don't see menopause, that means you're dead before menopause. That means you're dead early. So let's look, अरे मैं अभी भी alive हूँ, ठीक है, थोड़ा सा menopause का discomfort चल रहा है. If you need to sleep more, sleep more. If you need to, you know, whatever it is you need to do for yourself to make your life at that moment happy, make it. But don't curse it, because it's a phenomena, it's a natural phenomena, and it's a privilege. Because after menopause, then you are still alive. Old age is a privilege. Menopause is a privilege because it says that you're still alive and you're normal.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. You are, I think whoever listening here, they are enjoying this talk and got a very good message from you. I totally agreed with the concept that self-acceptance. Okay. Even I have tried this. It is not that your external look, but it is the internal, maturity. And in menopause, I think we are so much mature. What you have already said, that what we were in our childhood, now in our this menopause time, it is complete different perspective you have. Your thought patterns had changed, and your words had changed, and your action had changed. So I relate it with these thoughts, words, and action. Twa, when we twa, TWA. So whatever we think, it comes in our words, and then that what we think and we talk, it becomes our action. So that is a universal formula what I have experienced in my life, and you have rightly put it in this platform. I would like to ask our audience, if they have any question to ask Madhuji, you can message or write in the chat box. She and I also can answer you. Otherwise we will just conclude this event, finding a balance in life as a woman. There are a lot of factors which Madhuji shared. I thanks a lot from my heart again, Madhuji. You are absolutely, even if you are just on screen, but still I can feel your that energy. And in audience also, I must say that you all might be feeling her energy, how vibrant she is. And you are same as it is when I met you personally also and on screen also. So thank you so much. Is there anything you want to ask? We just let me read some chat if it is there. Are you able to see chat box?
No, you read, doctor.
Okay, fine. So there are no questions yet. Anyone wants to ask Madhuji any question? They are saying thank you, ma'am. Very helpful, very knowledgeable, beautiful knowledge shared by Madhuji. These are the messages which I am reading here. So I think they are very much satisfied with your talk, and their questions has already you have resolved it while talking. So anything else you want to share in one take home message, Madhuji, in the
Yeah,
end?
I like to say just one thing.
Hmm.
There are two components to life. One is a component which is under your control and your power. You can make a lot of change. You can have goals. You can work towards your goal. You can choose to be happy. You can choose to be positive. You can choose to be hardworking. You can choose to be disciplined. And we all know science has proven a lot of things, that if you don't drink, you'll have a healthy, liver. If you don't smoke, you'll have healthy lungs. If you walk every day, you'll have good healthy. If you eat healthy, you'll be very happy. So everything is like a cause and effect, and we all know what causes good effect and what causes bad effect. So we can all choose to do that, and that is our responsibility. And the more you choose correctly for yourself, the more empowered you feel. So that is in your hands. But equal amount is the power of God, faith. So every time, it is true that if you work out every day, if you walk every day, you will be healthy. But it's not necessary. It is a natural cause. What will you do if you have thyroid? Suddenly you get thyroid, and your body goes out of balance. You may be doing everything correct, but your body is gone out of balance, and which is not in your hands. What will happen if you fall on the road and you twist your ankle or twist your knee? You may want to get up and walk every day, but you had an accident. It is not in your control. It happened. So even when you make the right choices, things are working in your favor. We have to join hands to the Almighty and say thank you. And when things are not going in your favor, even then join hands and say, God, whatever it is you're trying to teach me, please take care of me. So this joining hands in humility is equal part to doing your stuff and being empowered. You do your stuff and be empowered. Don't be lazy. Don't be, non-working, not hardworking. Integrity. Try to build an integrity in your character. It is in your hands. But whether all the good results are coming your way, that is not in your hands. If they are coming, if your results are favorable, say thank you. Be grateful. If the results are not favorable, even then, join hands and say, God, bus ho gaya. Take care of me. Enough. So that whole thing, that the balance, again, this talk is about balance. The balances between the known aspect and the unknown aspect. We have control in the known aspect. We have no control in the unknown aspect. So you try to balance that, accept it, and surrender.
And do you believe, lastly, this balancing, this our ancient science, Ayurveda, Yoga, and Garbha Sanskar, these can work? Do you believe that yes, we should accept and go back to our origin?
There are,
Obviously, with bridging the gap with modern science also.
yeah, it is truly a very interesting times in our life, because it is not this or that. It is not Ayurveda or allopathy. It is not homeopathy or Ayurveda. It is not America and Indian. It is not this or that. I think it is a time of integration.
Yes.
Our old ancient science has been proven scientifically in laboratories and universities, and WHO has proven, like haldi. Today,
Yes.
haldi is considered god food,
Yes.
turmeric
Yes.
and curcumin.
Yes.
They
Curcumin.
have finally recognized, they've proven. But haldi and adrak has been given to us by our grandmothers. So
Yes.
same way, everything we already know, it has come from our ancient world and also proven by the science in the Western world. So it is not this or that, it is about integration.
Integration.
So let's live a balanced and an integrated life.
Exactly. Wonderful summarized. This whole session has become so much, vibrant and helpful for all the participants. I'm getting lots of positive message here. in the chat box. Every moment of the talk was fruitful, ma'am. Someone is writing for you, and they are glad that they are part of this session. And this will be on live. So please share, all of you who are here, who are not able to attend this session, please share this chat and spread this knowledge which we have shared in this session. So thank you so much, Madhuji, again, a lot for joining me and helping me and my audience and other community, everybody finding the balance as a woman in life. So we will conclude this session. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Yes. Bye. Take care. Have a nice day.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.